Or do you want me to?
I'm doing it. Good evening, Tactical Devils, and welcome. Do not panic. My mate Jarvis is in the background. I'm just going to do a little bit of hosting tonight. We're just going to mix things up a little bit. Stay with us because I promise you now, guys, we've got a brilliant show. The thumbnail headline is Snail United. There's a couple of things that have been bothering me over the last few days, and I want to talk about them with yourselves and with Jarvis. And then obviously we've got the usual Gyökeres, we've got the usual Mbeumo, and Onana has been linked out on loan today. We also want to talk about the Italian goalkeeper Carnesecchi, if I pronounced it right. Jarvis is laughing in the background already. We want to talk about Gonçalo, Ramos, and also Ederson from Atalanta. You all welcome tonight. Please get involved with myself and Jarvis, and we'll be back after the break. And Jarvis is going to get us going with the intro even. I go an outro. Welcome all to Sunday evening Tactical Devils with Jarvis and Stu.
Yes.
As I said, don't panic. My old mate is right by my side. He's going to take over the hosting duties, but I just wanted to briefly tell you a little bit about tonight's show. So the show's actually called Snail United, and it is to do with me getting extremely angry with what's happening with other clubs at the moment. We may look at our PSR issues and we may look and think, well, July the 1st, etc., etc., etc. But that's gone out the window today for me with the Ja Pedro deal with Chelsea. So I'm going to hand you over to my good old mate. I'm going to put him in the driving seat where he belongs. He doesn't like it over on the on the right hand side as
That's
I look
okay.
But Jarvis has got loads to talk about as well in terms of the latest with Mbeumo, Gyökeres, the potential loan deal for Onana, but particularly with players that we've been linked with, Viktor Ramos.
Yes.
Sorry, I went with Viktor. That's Catherine. She's got me all in a tears. Catherine with Dave wants us to look at a player, which we will look at, Catherine, I promise you. Gonçalo, Ramos, and Carnesecchi.
Yes. No, Carnesecchi. He's the Italian goalkeeper, but we will do a thorough breakdown on Marco Carnesecchi while we are a little bit later in the show. So just stay tuned, everybody. And I just want to say hi to Catherine McDade. No Nonsense McDade coming in.
Yes.
Big up. Good to see you. We have Jarle Malmin in the house already. Gavin Underwood coming in and say live in 23 hours. Big up all. Yeah, I sometimes mistakes AM and PM because we don't use them in Norway. So you got to just bear with me. Daddy B is here. Hit that like button on the way in. He says, Johnny Kermodis in the house. Good evening, all. Snail United, take your time, nice and slow. Take your time, lads. I love how you conduct your messages, Johnny K. Always like on point. Trevor Wade.
Yeah. Oh, friend, sorry. I was waiting for Johnny K to give us the French version of L'Escargot. Come on, Johnny. I was waiting for that. Yeah. Sorry, bless him.
And we have the one and only Trevor Wade coming in and say, please don't say we have Stu on his own. Life is tough.
Don't worry, Trevor. I'm okay.
In a duo. Love you, Stu. Good to see you. Trevor Wade coming in with the banter. Mark Langridge is in the house. Big up, Mark. I hope you're well. Evening all. United doing United things. I am Titanium. Big up, guys. And that's basically the ones who have put a comment in the live section so far. Well, it's going to be an interesting show. It's been a interesting week for all Man United fans. We are soon heading into 1st of July, new financial year, and a lot of fans are starting to get impatient when it comes to this Mbeumo deal. We have had 2 bids so far. 150 plus 10 or 12 or something, and 160 million. But we know Brentford wants 62.5 million. That they already said it. They want the same as we paid for Cunha. I don't know what taking so much time, but on this we saw Chelsea doing bits in the market. Stu, do you want to collaborate a little?
Yeah, I was particularly irked today, I
Yeah.
have to say, probably because I got a bit of a hangover from it. The mighty Tipton Towns, which is very, very strange, end of season piss up, afternoon stroke evening, although we've already had pre-season, so it's a little bit weird, bit of a strange one. But I was really irked today because there was a reports last week where Newcastle had put in a trio of bids, hadn't they? And that was Ja Pedro, that was Alanga, and one other. The name escapes me. And then
was it James Trafford? Was it the
James
goalkeeper?
Trafford? Yes, but we think they may have. We think they may have got James Trafford over the line, don't we? We're not sure, but we think.
Oh, it's not over yet, but
it's not over yet. Yeah. But what really irked me more than anything was this morning it was reported that Brighton had a hand rejected a Ja Pedro deal. And then about an hour ago, before we come live, Ja Pedro is on his way from Brazil to join up with Chelsea's Club World Cup team. It is absolutely shocking. And we said this about City. City went in. Yes, they were in a time frame, but they didn't dick about it. They went in. They got the 3 players they wanted. Rangers, Cherky and Aït-Nouri out to the Club World Cup. Liverpool have spent £200 million. Done. Gyökeres, brilliant player. Words, brilliant player, but we don't know, do we, how he's gonna do. And then Frimpong, 3 great signings. Arsenal started to do business. Zubimendi and our good old friend Norgard. Yes, the Arsenal guy's on. Norgard, but he's there. We do Cunha, and everybody's thinking, "Wow, this is great." And then all of a sudden, the brakes are hit. Now, myself and Jarvis were pretty sure Mbeumo was over the line a couple of weeks ago, and then we hear by respected journalists, Ormstein in particular, which is always a worry, that this has not been the case, and that Mbeumo and Brentford are still holding out for, as Jarvis says, the minimum value of 62.5 million.
It was reported like 2 weeks ago. They want the same as we paid for Cunha, 62.5 million. That's the going rate.
Yeah. So if that's the case, and we want the man, pay the money. That's what we need to do, because Catherine's absolutely right. Chelsea don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm not really quite sure what Liam Delap's thinking right now. If I'm him, maybe when he signed, he was maybe told that we are looking to bring in a top line striker. And let's face it, Ja Pedro's no mug.
Might I add, Sir Nicholas Jackson is...
Sir Nicholas Jackson will be crying. He's already got his bags packed. Last I heard about Sir Nicholas Jackson is he's camping outside of Carrington, waiting for July 7th. Please let me in. Please let me in. A little bit of the old Peter Oden Wingy back in the QPR days, West Brom to QPR, if you all remember. You remember that scenario.
Yeah.
And yet we seem to be bothered about PSR. We seem to be bothered about not getting ripped off. We seem to be bothered about a multitude of things when clubs, and when you win the league quite comfortably, you're going out and spending 200 million. But the big one for me is Chelsea. Straight in and straight out. We want you. Club World Cup. What have we got to do to get over the line today so I can get him out for the Club World Cup? And that's how business is done. People always turn around and say, "Oh, transfers are complicated." They are when it certainly comes to image rights. Absolutely, there are when it certainly comes to the way that you pay the money over the period. But ultimately, once you agree a price with something, it's a relatively straightforward process. After that, you let the lawyers get involved. They'll look at a variety of different things, but ultimately, you've got to look at it and think, enough's enough now. we as a club have got to start acting, because we finished 15th last season. He knows what he wants, does our good old friend Ruben Amorim. We've got to deliver. We have to deliver. We've said before, these players have got to come through the door on July the 7th. They have to do it. So unless there's a huge turnaround in the way that we are operating next week, we're going to be left behind yet again. Yet we keep doing it. When are we going to learn from basic mistakes? When are we going to learn from basic mistakes? Fergie once always said, didn't he? He goes in, he sees the board. I'm on holiday July 12th or whatever it is. I want everything done before I walk out on that, before I walk out on my holiday. I don't want to come back, and I don't want any late transfer business. I want everything done before my holiday. Why can't we seem to do this? What is the hold up with Manchester United as opposed to every other club? Every other club seems to be able to go out and do business except us. What is the problem? And this is really, really fucked me over today. I'm absolutely livid. I don't care about Ja Pedro. I'm not interested in Ja Pedro one little bit. What I'm interested in is the time that it's taken for us to try and deal with Brentford over Mbeumo and Chelsea going into Brighton. And we know that dealing with Brighton's a difficult, tricky. Tony Bloom's no mug. He's just spent 10 million quid on Hearts, hasn't he? Or somewhere like that. It's big investment up in Scotland. So we've got to go in and we've got to deal with this, and we have to deal with it quickly. Why can Chelsea get something done in 48 hours, maybe 72? We don't know the exact ins and outs, but the deal this morning was read. Chelsea had a bid turned down for Ja Pedro this morning. By the close of play today, he's on his way to the Club World Cup.
Yeah. It's amazing when you think of it, how swiftly Chelsea came in and signed Ja Pedro. I had a what do you call it? I said that Man United would be linked to Ja Pedro during the transfer summer window, but we didn't. So I was wrong. But how quickly they came in. There was no rumors. Just bam, there we go. Chelsea signed him. And this is how a club that wants something, that have ambitions, moves in the market. And to a way it comes in with a good comment. It say United always just piss about while other teams just pass us by. We are a big club with a small mentality. No wonder where we are. No wonder where we are.
I mean, Rusmano makes a good point about the money that Chelsea have already earned. They've earned 30 million already in the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
Money for turning, and then getting through the group stages, getting through the to the quarterfinals. They've earned money, and it pays for the deal. Absolutely. But it doesn't matter whether they've earned that money. What matters is they've gone in, decided what they want, and they've come away with it. City did the same with Aït-Nouri, didn't they? And Gyökeres, they dicked about with Gyökeres for about 3 days.
Yeah.
They came away with Reinders, Gyökeres, Aït-Nouri. Liverpool.
Yeah, but I don't know if you remember, before we came into this summer transfer window, I said that I'm not particularly optimistic when it comes to Man United, because I think we will do the same thing. It's in our DNA right now. We've been doing this for 15 years almost, pissing and moaning, always struggling to get it over the line, because we want to haggle about every little dime and penny, and we don't seem to have it in us just to go right down and say, okay, we want this player. How much do you need? 62.5. Okay, we'll take it.
How do we do it? Yeah, we'll do the deal. How do you want it done? How can we make it palatable for Manchester United? And that's what Chelsea have done. The guy Devilish Tactico is absolutely right. Soccer Junkie, I think is that a new name? Soccer Junkie. Welcome if it is, pal.
Big up, Soccer Junkie.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Chelsea have got the ability to go out and do it. They circumvent a variety of different things. Hotels, selling the women's team. It looks like Aston Villa are looking at selling the women's team, etc., to do PSR. But also, Todd Bowley didn't give a fuck. He just didn't give a fuck. He's gone and stuck Ja Pedro on a 7-year contract. Now, we heard 12 months ago they were going to completely close that loophole, didn't we? that the Premier League were closing that loophole. They haven't. So Chelsea going in and signing everyone on a 7-year
Well, they
contract.
have closed it because it has nothing to do with the PSR, because that only counts for the first 5
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
The
that's right.
contract. So in a way, I don't know how they, but you pay less in the first 5 years if you give a
less in the
7
first
year
5 years.
contract.
That's
So
exactly right. Yeah.
it's still a loophole.
Now I'm glad we don't do that, because I don't want any player on a 7-year contract at Manchester United. But there are ways to circumvent it, and every other club seems to do it. So I'm just a bit pissed right now that, and you were right, Jarvis. You said, Stu, nothing will come in until August. I said they can't afford to do it, but at the end of the day, we're in this limbo. Once again, we're in limbo. We are linked with, look at that, 200 players again, aren't we? We're linked with this player. We're linked with that player. Every way you turn, we're linked. We're linked. We're linked. We're linked. We know 90% of it is rubbish. We know that, but other players, other clubs, they're linked with him, and they go out and they get the business done. It's done. Chelsea, by the way, guys, don't forget, yesterday Chelsea bought Gittins.
Yeah,
from Dortmund. They bought Gittins yesterday. Ja Pedro today. Just let that sink in, guys. Gittins yesterday, Pedro today, and we can't even get one player. And Mbeumo must be thinking, the fuck is going on? Because don't go out. Players are watching. Players are seeing what's going on. Yeah, I'll be going to my agent if I'm on Mbeumo and say, what the fucking hell's going on here? Chelsea have done Gittins, and they've done Pedro today. Liverpool have done this, and this. What are you doing? Will you get that deal done? I want to know where I'm going.
But Stu, I think when we look at it sensible, why I made the prediction about United, we always struggle, is because we are run by bankers, and you got to remember, United are listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
The board sets a budget before the transfer window, and this is what United have to spend. The moment we have to go over the budget, they have to make a process. It has to be the board has to go through it, and you gotta assemble a general. You got
to do a board meeting. It's got to be ratified.
And then it goes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and suddenly you have the money available, and then you can go in, but then it's too late. Then you will have another, like Anthony. We could have signed Anthony for 35 million, but we ended up signing him for 80 million euros or something. Because we move slow, we move like a snail, and that's why we have the Snail United. And this is the problem with Man United. We should have been delisted. We are not a business; we are a football club. But we don't act like a football club. We act like a business.
I think we need to be delisted. I think we've got to get off the stock exchange as well. We've got to be delisted.
Yeah.
Sure.
A lot of great comments. I see people coming in. I'm so happy that all of you showed up for a Sunday night weekend roundup with Stu and Jarvis. I see also Aileen Tenno, big up Peter, Rushmano, Rootinator coming in, pushing for those likes. Yalam Almin comes in with I read a comment from Yalam Almin. He said we only have £70 million. I think that's one of our biggest problem, our liquidity. We don't have the money in the bank account ready to go, and I think that's where we have to be financial acrobats, and we have to rely on paying in installments over years. And I think this is where the problem lies for Man United. We can easily offer 62.5 million, but Man United wanna move them over 5 years. Brentford probably wants at least half the first year, and I think this is where the negotiation lies.
Yeah, they probably do. And, the Vutinator's coming. Good to see you, by the way, pal. Saying that, he thinks it'll be done on July 1st. I'm sure it probably will do. But it's just a case of every year we're slow, we're lethargic, we're negotiating, we're preparing this bid, we're monitoring that situation. I'm just, oh, my God. You've just got to... you've just got to take it for what it is, I suppose. But ultimately, as we've said, there are clubs out there that don't have this issue. Now, the guys are right. We've got to get rid of, players on large contracts. But, that should have been dealt with 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Just should have been done. You're gone. You're gone. You're gone. Find another club. You're gone. Luke Shaw, we all know who these players are. You've got to go. You're gone, because this is what happened. Jack Grealish, totally frozen out, probably at City. Guardiola will probably turn around and say to it, maybe, we don't know, obviously, because it's not pre-season yet, but he'll probably turn around and say, find another club. Just go. We don't want you. We've got to do it with Sancho. You've got to kick him out the door. Get rid. You've got to pay the kid anyway. Whatever his contract is, you've got to pay him. So just get rid, Same with Rashford. You've got to do it. Anthony, we all know, wants to go to Betis. Betis can't afford him. So, Anthony.
Yeah, this is where the problem lies. I agree.
If you want to go to Betis, buy yourself out your contract. Buy yourself out your contract and go to Betis. The players have done it in the past. They've bought themselves out the contract to go to other clubs. So do it. Buy yourself out. I'm not saying, when you buy yourself out of a contract, you don't necessarily have to pay the full value of the contract. You strike a deal with the club and says, I'll take 20% salary or whatever. Buy yourself out that contract. You can do it. Players are just too greedy today. They don't want to do it. But salaries are huge. Absolutely huge, aren't they? When you're on 250 grand a week, why should I take 150 grand a week? Well, do you want to play football? Dele Alli was on some social media channels today, and he's walking around and he's showing this one-off Gucci jacket or whatever it is. And I just look at him and I think, mate, instead of doing that, you want to concentrate on your football. You want to concentrate on getting yourself back to the level, but you're not. You're dicking around in Milan with a fucking leather Gucci coat. Who cares? Who cares what you fucking wear? I don't. You don't.
No, neither do I. No, I don't care. I don't. Absolutely, I don't care.
No, this is what Sancho's about at the minute. This is what Rashford's about at the minute. They're all about what their clothes.
Let's not get started on the Sancho thing. I'm sick of it. I don't want to ruin the mood of everybody watching on a Sunday night, because I hope.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'm on a rant.
We're not going to mention his name. He's the guy we're not going to mention his name anymore.
Yes.
It's just. We got to get rid. T Mills, it's a new name I haven't seen. I will be happy this weekend. We just wet crap.
We're just crap in negotiation.
Yeah, we are. Kevin Donovan, big up to see you. Bryan Mbeumo, we have to get the deal done. In my mind, I think we will get the Bryan Mbeumo deal.
We will. Yeah.
The only problem with this is we have been negotiating for Bryan Mbeumo now for at least 4 weeks, maybe 5. Is it so much as 5 weeks? At least 4 weeks.
Probably even 6.
And we know as a club we can only do one deal at a time. So why are we wasting our time? Because we have so much to do. We need a midfielder, maybe 2. We need a centre back. We need a right wing back. We need a left wing back. We need a new goalkeeper. We need a striker. We need so many players into this squad. How would you react if you were Amorim in all of this? Would you be 100% trusting INEOS and the board to help you out, to back you?
I don't really know.
Worry?
I don't really know. That's the problem I've got. I'm not 100% sure. I'd like to think that everything's running around smoothly in the background, but I've just got very, very little faith that is the case. I don't know. We just seem to have amateurs. He's no slouch, Barada. He built up a decent reputation with the City group. He's no slouch, but I just feel that we're still this little club of children who just don't know how to operate in a footballing world. And I'll be honest, if I'm Amorim, I'd be looking at it and thinking, crikey, if I don't get what I need, and I've told them, I've been telling them this for months, what I need. Any decent club worth its salt would have come the turn of the year. The players are there. You start making contacts with those clubs with your intentions. And then you go to the agents with your intentions, etc., 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 and you start negotiating, you start talking. And Mbeumo himself must be hugely frustrated, telling Brentford, "Yeah, this is what I want." And I'd be kicking my if I'd be on the phone to my agent every day, every hour. What the hell is going on? Why is there no movement? What you need to put pressure on Brentford, or just get another agent. I just don't. I'm just a bit fed up today. Really.
I love this comment from Rushmano. The Glazers has destroyed our ability to move quickly like others. So Joe Glazer still signs the check. And I think this is where the problem lies. That's why I always have Glazers out on my wall, green and gold, green and gold, green and gold, because I despise the ownership of this club, especially the Glazers. I think they have made a mockery out of our club, and we have become a business, not a footballing club anymore. I just want to say hi to Thomas. Big up, Thomas. I hope you're well. I was not surprised that but it was going to be snail pace this window. Yeah. And this is classic Glazer summer transfer window. We end up paying what they want or even more. So it's a waste of time anyway. And I think that's spot on. That's spot on. You summed it up really well, Thomas. Big up. I hope you're well.
Yeah.
And Abdi Libax is coming in and says Sancho knows he won't get that kind of money again. Yes. But we're not going to talk about Sancho. I think we're done. Neil Davis, big up. Good to see you. You say that's why we need Qatar in. But I think that ship has sailed, at least for now. Maybe they will come in at a later stage in Man United.
We've got a gifted membership by I Am Titanium. Absolutely diamond. Thank you.
I Am Titanium.
Right, he's gonna give you the big blow. I Am Titanium. You ready for it? Deep breath.
Guys, if you don't want us to do this, just tell us in the chat and we can stop.
Yeah,
I'm grateful. I Am Titanium.
Come on. Yes, that's how you do it.
Go well.
You do it. It went well. I haven't got it up though. Let's see who it is.
Yeah. Same with me.
I haven't got it up, so apologies. I Am Titanium. Let me just get that.
Oh, we have Mark Webster.
Brilliant.
Received a membership from I Am Titanium. Thank you, I Am Titanium. More members into the membership club. I have to start to do regular member contents for you guys, because it's starting to be a big exclusive club right now, and a lot of people have joined the membership club. And if you want, you can join the membership club for as little as £1.99 a month. And then you will support the good cause of Tactical Devils, Stu and I. For us, just trying to create content for you guys. We're not putting the money into our own pockets. It all goes back into the channel, paying for licenses, fees, and everything we need for programs, graphics, all of this, just to make it work for you guys. And expensives, cameras, mics, computers, everything. So we lose money doing this, but I love doing this because we have created a fantastic community, and that's all because of you guys.
Yeah, money's
so
not
I'm so grateful. Thank you, I Am Titanium, for supporting us. Yeah. Catherine says, keep the glasses on, Stu.
Yes. Yeah, well, so these are, most of you know the story, but these are from the Beatles Museum of John Lennon. Set of glasses. I was absolutely wankered one day in Liverpool. We went to the Beatles Museum and I decided I will get those just for the stream. I think they're about 5 years old now. They're kind of like dying a slow death.
They look good. They look good.
They are very cool glasses, actually. Yeah, they don't kind of suit me, but they are very, very cool. I do like them.
I am the walrus. Cuckoo.
Yeah. Big up Kat as well. Big up Catherine. No nonsense, McDade. She says big up Stu and Jarvis. Thank you.
And Bathheim also comes in and says StreamYard is one of the biggest rip-offs since Jack Rodwell. Well, I don't know. How much do I pay? It's like, is it
35
pounds?
£50 a month, 35 a month.
Pounds a month just for the streaming program.
Something like that. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Jack Rodwell, the fabled Sunderland player, went from City to Sunderland on 70 grand a week. They got, I think they got relegated all the way down to the First Division, League One, and he still was on 70 grand a week. He almost bankrupted them single-handedly. Jack Rodwell, good player he was as well till he got injured.
Good player.
Yeah, very injury.
Valentino Symes coming in.
That's definitely a new name.
That's a new name, Valentino.
Welcome,
maybe we're Italian. Valentino.
I love that name, Valentino. Yeah. Absolutely.
I want to talk more about Mbeumo, but there's nothing more to report. So I want to go over to Gyökeres. There's been so much back and forward when it comes to Gyökeres. He wants Arsenal. But he don't want Arsenal. He wants Champions League. That's what he really said. Backtracking. His agent plays the game. Arsenal want to sign Sesko.
Yeah.
They're just using Gyökeres to lower the price on Sesko. Man United are sitting there. We want to sign Gyökeres, but we don't really have the money.
Yeah.
So, from 1 to 10, Stu, how close do you think we are to signing Gyökeres, really, right now, at the current moment?
2, 3, 1.
Yeah, but Gyökeres has burned all bridges with Sporting right now.
He's booked. We turned around 3 weeks ago on this same channel, and I made the point that Gyökeres has got nowhere to go. There is 2 to 3 clubs. That's it. That's all there is. 2 to 3 clubs that need a striker. And but no, have you noticed the big thing about this? And again, I don't want to keep going back to Chelsea. Ja Pedro wanting to go for Gyökeres. They went and got Ja Pedro. Same money, similar money, maybe 10 mil difference.
Yes.
In Euro. Liverpool chasing Isak. Way more money than Gyökeres. Not interested in. Okay. City weren't interested in Gyökeres, decided Mamouche was a better fit for them.
Yeah.
Arsenal think Sesko's a better fit for them. Why hasn't Gyökeres moved? I think is the question. Not where we're linked with him. Why hasn't he moved? That's the bigger question for me. What is it about him that nobody's gone in for him? Bayern Munich hasn't gone in for him. All right, they got Harry Kane. Don't need him. Dortmund. That's why would he go to Dortmund? There's nobody out there that really needs him. You could go to Inter Milan, but they, for whatever reason, are still, from what we hear, trying to get Højlund, aren't they? That just won't go away. No. Juventus definitely need a striker. Can't afford him, can they? There are no. He's right. That's just right. There are no. So my question now is why? Yeah. Why aren't people in for him? If Pedro can move from Brighton, why aren't people in for Gyökeres? So I'm really interested in that, to be fair. I really am. To see why nobody's interested. Unless he's got a verbal deal with a club and he can't move and it can't be announced till after July the 1st. Valentino, thank you. Well, excellent. If you want to...
for the Italian media for Sky Sports. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Valentino Symes. Good to have you. If you work with Sky Sports, you come to the right place. We like to report no nonsense and just try to do our best. So, thank you for tuning in. I just want to say when it comes to the Gyökeres thing, I think the biggest problem is Man United has gone out so massively that we want Gyökeres. We're not playing the game. Like, for example, why can't we do the same as Arsenal? We are linked to other strikers, but everybody knows it's bullshit. Everybody knows we only want Gyökeres. And that's what we want.
So the interesting thing for me, though, is Jarvis. And you're right, by the way. You're absolutely 100%. But nobody else is chasing him, are they?
No.
I mean, not one bid yet has gone in for Gyökeres. Do you not think that's strange?
I talked about it. I talked a lot about it with Noureddin. Noureddin is worried that he's not good enough. He doesn't have the right attributes to be in the Premier League striker. I think he relies a lot of on his physicality playing the Portuguese league. I've seen some clips. He looks like he bullies the centre backs. I feel that he will struggle a little bit when it comes to the Premier League because there's a different level. You're not facing Van Dijk or Ruben Diaz every week when you play in the Sporting when you play Sporting and the Portuguese league. Not saying anything wrong about the Portuguese league. It's a top 10 league in Europe, but it's not the same as Premier League as the best league in Europe, and you're facing tremendous oppositions, and that's where I think the problem lies. But it's not the same as me saying Gyökeres won't come good if we sign him, because I think there is a striker there, and if he comes in, he will most likely at least score from 15 to 20 goals next season.
15, 15 at least,
yeah. And Mr. B also comes in and say 22 goals in Portugal in your prime. Nora is right. Yeah, Nuruddin knows his football, so maybe he's right when it comes to this. And TK also says too many red flags on Gyökeres. Gyökeres teams are smart to let United wait and waste our time. So I don't know. I'm not going to say anything more about Gyökeres because I think we just gotta wait and see. There will be more twists and turns. His agent will play the game. Arsenal will play the game. Man United apparently trying to play the game. And the latest when it comes to Man United, we are linked to Gonçalo Ramos. I saw some tweets today about Gonçalo Ramos. I don't know if you saw them, Stu, but
a little bit,
nothing specific, but like tier 3 rumors, I would say.
Yeah, tier 3, maybe tier 4, tier 5.
Maybe. The only reliable source I could find was actually Rushmano reporting something about it with the Transfers MUFC coming in with this one. Let me just share it for you guys. He said PSG striker Ramos is still a striker option on loan. So he's not saying we're buying him, but he's a loan option when it comes to United. And if United miss out on the top target, so let's say if Gyökeres goes to Arsenal, there's no one else, we will focus on Gonçalo Ramos.
Yeah. So Valentino was saying that there's too much problems around Gyökeres at the moment with him going on strike. Shows his attitude, even he has a point, but he cannot blame everyone other than his agent. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Fred the Red, the mighty Tipton Town, we did turn Rashford down. He did come, he got his bling, he got his entourage, and we said, sorry, Rashy, we want quality and consistency out of our players, and you don't fit either. Please get back in your Rolls Royce and go away and leave us alone. So he did, but by the time he got to his Rolls Royce, all the wheels are gone, and he wasn't even in Liverpool. He was in a mighty Tipton. Tipton, by the way, we're only having a bubble. Half time's come in and says, get to the big one, Jarvis. Is Calvert going to be a better player than Erasmus Højlund? Because that's what we're going to end up with. So if you haven't heard the news, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has come out today and says that he is leaving Everton with a heavy heart, but he's looking for a new challenge. And is that challenge coming on from the bench? So here's a question for you. He's obviously not a player we would want. He's obviously not a player that would definitely wouldn't fit Amrin's system. Would you take him on a free as a bench player only? I'm talking bench only.
Are you asking me? I would say absolutely no, because of his injury prone, and he was a okay striker at the time. 21-22 season, I would say, but up on the last 3 years has been disastrous for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And you're not moving from Everton and go to Man United on the decline and then suddenly succeed. I don't think it's possible.
I agree.
So
I absolutely agree.
Out of the question, I wouldn't take him even on a free. That's just my take when it comes to Dominic. But I respect him. I loved how he worked, how he adapted to the Premier League physically in the 21-22 season. Yeah.
Mr. B comes in and says, maybe I'm a bit crazy, but I think Xerxes will compliment Cunyon and Mbeumo. I actually agree, Mr. B, with you on that one. Myself and Jarvis were looking at that. We think ultimately, Xerxes' position is an advanced 8. He's a better advanced 8. Before you all jump on me, we know he's got 0 pace for an 8. I get that. But an advanced 8 is more of a playmaker role. That's what, and I think you're absolutely right, Mr. B. I think he will complement Mbeumo and Cunha in a much deeper role, but not as a 9, in my opinion.
The problem with Xerxes is he doesn't push back the centre backs. We need someone to
We need
stay in that central zone, the 18-yard box. We want them to push them back to create space while number 10s who work in front of them. And, if
outside the box,
let's say if Xerxes drops down, Cunha drops down, and Mbeumo drops down, who's going to run in behind? It will be too easy to defend for the opposition.
Yeah, but with an 8, a more advanced 8, he's perfect. He's absolutely perfect in that circular just below zone 14. He's absolutely perfect. Valentino comes in. Thanks for this information, Valentino. Watch the Ederson story at CM that United bid 50 million last summer and no one reported it. There is still talks ongoing, albeit in the background, could end up being the biggest surprise in the transfer window. Wow. We've got Ederson to talk about that, Valentino, so that might be a great segue for you, Jarvis.
It's a segue. I'm not quite finished with when it comes to Gonçalo Ramos, but we can because I wanted to do a little tactical breakdown of his attributes, but we can do that later. We can do it's a great segue to the Ederson story, and there's been some links. Alfredo Pedula, Mick Ruby has been doing some stuff with Alfredo, and it's a big possibility that we could actually go sign him. And I think the Man United are looking at Ederson at the moment. Nothing concrete yet, no bid coming in, but I think we are putting our interest out there. And for me, I think he's a good midfielder. I really liked him last season when they won the Europa League. Remember the final? They beat an unbeaten Leverkusen 3-0 in the final. What's that guy? The Nigerian winger scored. Former Fulham guy.
You're on about.
Yes, you all know who I mean.
Yeah.
He did really well, and that Atalanta team I really respect. Lookman. And I would actually go for Ederson if possible. My only concerns when it comes to a player like Ederson is it's not Premier League proven, and I think we are at the stage where we need Premier League proven players because we can't afford to fail right now. We can't afford to do any mistakes.
Yes,
and if we make mistakes, let's say if we sign Ederson, big fee, 70, 75 million, and he doesn't grasp, he doesn't take the Premier League, it's too high of a level for him, we will struggle because we can't bring in another midfielder. Then we're stuck with Ederson for another 3 to 4 years, and everything just slows down again. So I would actually go for, I see Rosmano mentions Ndidi. We talked about Palinha, Premier League proven players that actually come in and do a job. I don't know if Ederson's profile is the same as Ndidi and Palinha, but he's more of a playmaker, if I understand, a box-to-box number 8.
Yeah, he's more like Brozovic, isn't he?
Yeah.
Back in the day, Brozovic type player. Indeed, is a good shout because we can pick him up for as little as 10 mil, can't we?
I think it's like 8 or 9.
It's a ridiculously cheap deal. I mean, I don't know why nobody's bought him anyway and done the deal on him anyway. Seriously, Villa, Tottenham, Brentford. Oh, it doesn't matter, does it? Somebody should do that deal at 8 to 9 million. Absolutely, 100%.
Do you care to reply on this from Yorkshire coming in? It's probably on Snail United.
Yes, so he's saying that they're not slow. It's you guys who are impatient, basically, is what he's saying. These multi-million pound transfers with United have to work within the budget. We used to complain about the waste in previous years, so calm down. Look, I absolutely, we're not disagreeing with anything you're saying there, Yorkshire. I'm not going to say buddy or anything like that because I don't know if you're a male or female. So on that one, maybe you could let us know. But ultimately, there are certain clubs that seem to have this ability to be able to roll out the red carpet rather quicker than Manchester United, and I think that's where the frustration is for us. We also know that this particular first 6 months of this next season is absolutely paramount to shaping the club's future. It's not just whether it shapes Amarin's future, it actually shapes the club's future, and we need to be in a much more solid state than what we are quite now. But I've got absolutely zero issues with you with your comment, Yorkshire. It's very well articulated, mate, or lady.
Yeah, and Rashmana also agree with Yorkshire. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yorkshire.
Bad time, he thinks Ndidi has the worst passing stats of midfielder in the last decade of the Premier League football. Well, let's go into the stats and check out Ndidi, because it actually interests me a little bit when it comes to this. So here you see Wilfred Ndidi, 28 years of age, 186 centimeters high, right-footed position midfielder, shirt number 6. His market value is 14.1 million euros. But we can get him because he has a relegation clause in when it comes to Leicester. I think it's 8 or 9 million pounds. So if you see his attributes and compare him with Ugarte, because I think that's the most. If you look at this, it's quite interesting because they're almost similar. I don't know what you take from this.
It is, isn't it? There's not a huge amount.
No, when it comes to attacking, Ugarte has 54, Ndidi 51, creativity 57, 54, defensive 56, 58,
same,
tactical 56, 59, 48. So it's almost the same player. It's
pretty much identical. So would you? So the question is then, would you remove Ugarte and pop Ndidi in there? I think he's always performed quite well against Manchester United, hasn't he? He's always performed well against us. What's his age, by the way? How old is he?
28.
28. He's not. 28. I think the guys are right. He's not a brilliant passer. Yeah, absolutely. But are we talking passing 10 yards and above? In which case,
I want to go into the FB ref and have a look. Let's see the full stats. Now we're going to the nerdy section of the show. But first of all, let's do heat maps.
Oh yes. Somebody put up a while ago. Somebody's getting a heat map.
We like. So on the left, you see Ndidi. He's here, and this is Ugarte. So you see, Ndidi has a wider range. He's all over the place. He likes to move to the right. And when you look at Ugarte, but this could just be about tactics.
Well, that heat map suggests to me that Ugarte is a better fit for us, because he's more central. He's more centralized. So he's a better fit. He's a better fit for us.
But I don't know, Stu, if you remember when we faced Everton this season. Everton, they really outnumbered us on the right flank, Everton's right flank, and then Ndidi was part of it.
Yes,
always. We have Garner moving out from inside to the outside. Also with the striker Beto, and then Ndidi always covering a lot of ground, making the extra man. So Everton, I think they beat us just because of Ndidi, and I think Ndidi had a brilliant game playing against us.
Yeah, he did. Yes. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So for me, I think he's still a great player, and I wouldn't say no to a player like Ndidi for as little as 8 or 9 million.
8 or 9 million, great squad player for us. Great squad player, because that's what you would buy. Great squad player.
Even if there's no resale value, and you're talking about the 28-year-old 3-year contract, 31 when he leaves.
9 million doesn't matter, does it?
Get it done. I think we need we need more squad depth.
You need to bolster the squad. You've got space in the midfield where Ederson was, haven't you? So,
well, and the thing is, even though we don't need an extra midfielder, I think it's more sensible, and then we could send a player like Collier and Sekou Kune out on loan, give them a little bit more time to develop to the Premier League, not putting all this pressure on the youngsters. We need a development plan for the youngsters, not putting them in the limelight right away. So I think Ndidi would be a sensible signing. And
yes.
But Dave comes in and says, indeed, he's no better than Ugarte. But I think he's as good as Ugarte. And he has experience. So I think we wouldn't lose out on loaning a player like him.
It wouldn't be the world's worst piece of business. No, absolutely.
Loaning or buying for
it wouldn't be a piece of bad piece of business at all.
Mm-hmm. What did Butinator say? He said, you're talking amongst yourself. He said, don't get me wrong, I can't stand the rap man. You're talking about Sir Jim. The money spent situation comes back to the leeches and them only. Yeah, low United hate the Glazers. That's true. I agree. How many likes are we on right now, Stu? Do you know?
Let's have a look. Yeah, let me pull that up because I think there's about 70 odd watching. Just bear with us 1 second.
75 on YouTube.
Watching, I'm around 40 likes, I think.
Okay, guys, 75 of you and only 40. That's 35 of you watching right now. Not had the time to smash that like yet, but please do us a favor and smash the like. YouTube.
43 likes.
Yeah. 43.
That's all. Come on, guys. 75 watching, like each. That'll be we need likes because YouTube unfortunately measures the likes and it'll push us out to a lot more pairs of eyes, and we can grow the community. So if you are watching, and everybody, by the way, is watching on X, we're very, very grateful. But if you could just flip across to YouTube, smash a like for us, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah. So take your time, press that thumbs up thingy, and give us your like. That's all we ask. 210 watching, including X. That's and Twitch. Don't forget Twitch. We have that.
Twitch. We've got our man on Twitch. Yeah, we've got our man on Twitch. We are Twitch legends. Remember that.
Yes. Stu, I want to go to a little bit more about Ndidi before we wrap up the Ndidi segment. Let's look at his stats. 28 games last season, 2,300 minutes. That's quite decent. 5 assists. He had an XG of 2 and 0 goals, so he underperforms, but he's not a goal scorer. 75K a week, so we could probably get him for
easily,
less than 100.
Yeah, easy. Well, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need any more than 75, does he?
The only worry when it comes to this, he's Nigerian, and we have the AFCON. We're starting to get a lot of African players in our team. We have Ahmad, we have most likely Mbeumo, Unana, and if we sign Ndidi, so suddenly a lot of players will be gone. I don't know. The AFCON starts out early this season. It starts out December. Ends in end of January, so we could be like 5-6 players short when we come to that.
Well, I'm not sure the area of the season. Yeah, I don't think the Christmas break, as busy as it is, there's no Boxing Day fixtures this year, I don't believe. So there's a week in between.
And nevertheless, we would be missing like 3, 4, 5 players.
Yeah, but also we have a winter break, don't we, in January? For a week, we have a week off in January, so it might not be as bad as we fear. It's still bad. Yeah, absolutely. Something to wet the beak with. Tom, good to see you, Tom. I used to work at Old Trafford, and I can tell you now, there were literally hundreds of people who did nothing all day and every day. Tom says the staff sackings were needed. That's really interesting, Tom. And you wouldn't pay someone to sit on their arse all day, would you? Absolutely. Great to have you with us, Tom. Really, really great to have you with us as an ex-employee. I worked in a museum and sometimes did tours. Thousands of people used to work at Old Trafford, and I used to look at a lot of them and think, why are you getting paid? What do you do? Hugely huge insight, that is, Tom. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So look at this too. Ndidi's stats. I want to go here. Okay. So when it comes to goal scoring attributes, it's nothing. Assists. Yeah, you have in the 88th percentile, 5 assists in the Premier League last season. Passing, dreadful. Pass completion, dreadful. Progressive passes, dreadful. Carries, dreadful. Take on, mediocre.
Yeah.
Touches in the attacking penalty, 2.36. That's good. Progressive passes received. So he likes to move into danger areas.
Yes.
Well, this is the good parts. Tackles, 95 percentile. He puts in 3.29 tackles per 90. Interception, 67. Blocks, 93. Clearances, 97. Aerial, 196.
He's not tall, is he? He's not
how
tall.
tall is he? He's 6'2".
I don't think he was that tall. I thought he was about 5'10" for some reason. 6'2", indeed. Wilfred, indeed. Interesting. We could do with that height.
Yeah.
We could do with that height alone.
It would and when you compare, we all know him, so
yeah, we do. Yeah.
Let's just skip that part. But I want to look at his passing abilities. So pass completion, short passes 41 percentile, medium passes 13 percentile, and long passes 10. So he basically can't pass.
He can't pass at all, can he?
No. I don't want him. I don't want the player who can't pass the ball. I think that's
abysmal, that is.
That's elementary when it comes to football. You need to know how to pass a ball.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I saw the other day we were linked with Leao, weren't we? From which I had a bit of a chuckle on that one.
But this is the good part. Tackles 1, dribbles, tackles.
Excellent in that area, isn't it? But he can't pass. It's all right if you can tackle it, Jarvis, and you can't pass it once you won it.
No. But we do have Ugarte, so
yeah,
maybe it's a little bit excessive, signing Ndidi.
Yes.
Even though it's just 8 to 9.
Let's have a look at Ederson's heat map.
Compared to Ndidi.
Let's just have a look at Ederson as a whole, just up by himself on his heat map. Let's have a quick look what we got while you're doing that in the clubs. Mayor 254, welcome. Other clubs have already completed 45 signings. Absolutely. Our club has only 1, and they're okay with it. So annoying to watch. Absolutely, that's spot on. That is. The Vutinator says to Boxing, the player profile has changed as far as I can see under Barada and Wilcox. It's going to take at least another summer. Absolutely, Vutinator, 100% to get it where it needs to be. Let's see what he gets for now. Boxing straight talk is absolutely right. If you can't pass at United, you will get pressed constantly. Tom's will target him 100%. Yeah. We're on 51 likes. Thanks to our moderator there. And Bath Time says, yeah, I think it's true. He has the worst passing stats for the Premier League midfielder in a decade. That is unbelievable. That is. Can't see how the guy improves the squad. Great tackler, but yeah, if you can't pass, there's no point in that. Rosmano, Ederson compared to Casemiro.
Okay, we can do that.
He went to the beach today. Not bad. It was overcast. I still caught a suntan quicker than a nana catches a ball. That's about right. That is brilliant. I like that one.
Okay, are you ready? Do you want to deep dive into Ederson Atalanta? His name is Ederson Jose dos Santos Lourenço da Silva. So nice name.
So he's got a big name, no?
Ederson Jose dos Santos Lourenço da Silva.
Yes. That's as Brazilian as you get, isn't it?
That's a nice name.
Yeah.
So here you go. You have Casemiro on the left. This is Casemiro, and you have Ederson on the right.
Wow.
Well, he's a box to box. You can clearly see he's a box to box on the left side. So he would operate almost in all of this box all the time.
Yeah.
But mostly this area and this area.
Yeah. Works the channels well.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. That's yeah. That's interesting. That is that
really,
heat map. Yeah,
it looks like almost a complete midfielder when you look at that heat map.
he does. He's not as centralized as well, he is actually. Yeah, he is. No, I like him, but he attacks on the right.
No, on the left. On the left.
Have you got our defensive side to the left? Oh yes, sorry, I see the arrow.
Yeah. The arrow is this way.
Yeah. So yeah. So I'm worried then about his central responsibilities in the defensive third. They're not great. Casemiro's defensive responsibilities in the final third are superb, but he's nowhere near as good as attacking as Ederson. So he's an 8 for me then, all day long.
So when it comes to stats, you see here it's dark. So Ederson is better than Casemiro when it comes to goals. When it comes to pass accuracy, he's a little bit better.
He's better, yeah.
Defending, they are I would say 3 to Casemiro. That's tackles, clearances, and balls blocked. Ederson is better at interceptions and dribble pass per game.
Yeah,
dribbling is a better dribbler. It's fairly high when it comes to ground duels, 153.8, but Casemiro is better, 62.2.
Yeah.
And this is where I think we lack aerial duels 1.6, 1.5. So they're almost the same when it comes to Casemiro and Ederson. I would like a taller midfielder, us to dominate the aerial.
I mean, he looks good, Jarvis, to be fair, Ederson, but he is a box to box. He's no 6.
No.
But he looks, I mean, his stacks he looks good. He looks good. But you couldn't play him deep. But what would you do? You know, do you take Bruno out of the equation then, or what? Manu
that's the problem. Where do you play him?
Manu doesn't get a look in. If we get Ederson, Manu doesn't get a look in.
And when we go to the stats, 4 goals, 1 assist last season, 37 games, 1 goal in the Champions League, 9 games played. He did well.
Yeah.
This is his stats overall. A lot of greens, passing, pass completion, progressive, flexible take-ons, touches, aerial ones. Yeah, he's doing really well.
What's his heat map compared to Bruno then?
We can check, but I think Bruno is more all over the place.
Worlds apart.
Oh, that's Nations League. I want to do this is the Premier League. So Bruno on the left. You see, Bruno likes to move more all over the place, bigger radius.
You know what? That's as similar a heat map as you're ever going to see in a profile to profile player. I bet their stats are pretty similar. I mean, if you look at the way that Bruno stretches the actual pitch and Ederson is more compact.
Yeah, but you got this area with Bruno.
Which is a nonsense. It's a nothing part. You don't need Bruno out of there. You need. I like Ederson's heat map. I've got to be honest with you. I like it. That's really
because you see Bruno, he overcompensates.
Yeah, Dave 147 is right. Ederson can tackle, Bruno can't. And what you're about to say about him overcompensating is absolutely perfect. If you were to draw a line from box to box, Jarvis, you know that we like. If you draw a line on both, you'll see the effectiveness of Ederson over Bruno. How effective he would be in that middle corridor. That is really interesting. I'm impressed with Ederson's heat map, Jarvis. I've officially said it on this channel 2 nights. I am. But does he have the creativity of Bruno? That's really interesting. What do you think?
Well, gotta be honest, I haven't seen much of him. You know, I saw him play for Atalanta, Europa League final. I've seen like a handful of games with Atalanta. but his stats are impressive. I don't know if any of you in the Devilish Tacticos have seen more of Ederson and know more if you want to contribute and add something to our analysis of this guy. But
Yeah.
he looks really good. And speaking of this, if Alfredo Pedula is right, if we are linked, if Mick Ruby is right, if we are linked, if you're talking about 70 million euros, maybe we should try to go for him.
Yeah, Dave says he's a good crossfield passer.
So you mean shift of play from one side to the other? Okay.
Mark says Amrin's system. What 5 at the back? Well, we do, as Neridin says, we do kind of like effectively go 5 at the back. Absolutely. Let's have a look. Craig Warby says, doesn't matter who we put in midfield against 2 industrious 3-man Premier League teams. Absolutely. I agree with that. You need to find that special sauce in the middle of the park. This is why I've always said, people talk about a double pivot all the time. They're very, very, very best footballing teams play with a single 6, and that is it. A single 6 like Rodri, who can play.
To answer me this.
Yeah.
If we have 2 industrious number 10s, like Mbeumo and Cunha, if you play with a 3-man midfield in a 4-3-3 and you have 2 number 10s behind you, your 2 number 8s or one of the 6 and the 8 needs to occupy the number 10s.
Yeah, they do. But what you're effectively asking your 10s for is, see, a good holding 6 operates in that square box, and he should hold within that area. Okay, middle third of the pitch, hold in that area. And the reason for that is he should be about 10 to 15 yards maybe in front of the centre half, which gives the centre half scope to push out when he needs to and push back when he needs to. But when he goes back, Jarvis, the 6 should automatically slot in to around a 10-yard, 15-yard position. He should always be on a leash. If you watch the way that Rodri positions himself, he roams around a lot in a circular motion in and around the central third. And he allowed De Bruyne, Silva, Foden, whoever else was playing as an 8 to do it. But if you remember their 2 10s, which was whoever it may be, say Mamouche or whoever it was that City played with the 10s, they come back and they fill the gaps in transition when they're under attack as a defensive shield. And that's what we must have. And I think he's bought Cunha and Mbeumo for that reason. They will come in and they will slot in alongside the 2 8s. So there'll be a good solid 3 in the middle, your 2 10s, and you're still waiting on a proper striker, by the way, that when he gets the ball, holds it up, and we can all push out again. So you kind of got that diamond shape again, haven't you, is what you're looking at. I've always suggested a single 6 is the best way forward. I've never liked this double pivot kind of thing. Like a single 6 for me, allowed a single 6 and the centre half to dictate.
But it's not a double pivot. It operates staggered.
Yeah, I know, but they call it a double pivot.
That's where people, I think, misunderstands, because the only way you can get a double pivot with the setup we have is one of the centre backs pushing up, the central centre back, especially when he plays out. Then you operate with a double pivot because the central centre back pushes out besides the number 6.
Yeah,
and the number 8 moves up with the 10.
I don't like that. I don't like the so-called double pivot. I don't like it. So when the centre half moves up, it should be kind of in line with the central midfielder. It should be that way, Jarvis, rather than that way, as you quite rightly called it. It's always behind, because that's your central spine. And when you've got that, your 2 centre halves, your 2, your Yoro and your Heaven, whoever it is, they close in again a little bit. And that's where your wing backs then come into position. So it's my fabled smiling you, but it'd be that way. It'd be the frown upside down kind of thing, because that's how you. So, and that's the idea. So ultimately, boxing's right. Barthime's right. There's very few that can play a 6 by themselves. They can't. There's only a few exponents of it.
Yeah.
Sander Berge is one. Zubimendi is another.
Rodri, obviously.
Rodri, yeah. But it is, again, I agree with you, Barthime. I think it is massively rare to find that. But if you can find that 6 who can hold that position, it opens up. That's why City is so good at attacking in waves because Rodri holds that position brilliantly, and they've got a really good, John Stones, for example, is absolutely brilliant. When John Stones was playing behind Rodri, it was perfect for them because Rodri could push up then.
He slots into that number 6 role, and he's more of a DM than a centre back in a way.
And Stones could do that, couldn't he?
Yeah,
he was brilliant.
Obviously, but De Ligt can't.
Yeah, De Ligt can't.
We don't know.
No, the only one I think that could do it is Martínez.
Maybe Lenny Yoruba, because he's good on the ball.
I think definitely Martínez that can fit in and do that 6 and then release.
Yeah, but we can't play with Martínez as a central centre back because of his aerial ability. So again, we are struggling with the setup of the team. We have not the right players to play the Amorim system.
Yeah. Well, I agree, actually, Bartime. I didn't want to bring Frankie de Jong up, but you're absolutely right. It is the Frankie de Jong argument. That is initially what Ten Hag was looking at, wasn't he, Jarvis? He was looking at that type of player to be able to dictate within our area. So I don't disagree with you. I just don't disagree. I've wanted it for a long time, Bartime. I prefer, even as a centre half myself, and by the way, we play 4 at the back of the mighty Tipton Town anyway. But even as a centre half myself, I like a single 6. I just want a single 6 in front of me. I don't want 2 or 3 players getting into the area that I need to go into to push the team forward. That's what I'm kind of getting at. I need that space and I want that space. And the goalkeeper needs it as well. If we've got a proactive or a proactive goalkeeper, by the way, that sits in around the penalty spot, which we don't have, by the way, that allows the centre half and the 6 to push up a little bit and get you up the pitch a bit quicker. We just don't have that. So, but I agree with that. I think you're absolutely right, pal. I wasn't referencing him, to be honest, but I do agree. I do really agree. Yeah, it's the Frankie de Jong conundrum.
It is.
But I don't think Agarte can do it, by the way. What I was also saying is I don't think Agarte can be that 6, Jarvis.
Danny B comes in and say, this is why I wanted Yashari. The Club Brugge midfielder, was it Ardon or Arjan or his name? Yashari. He's really good on the ball, but he's not a defensive midfielder in sort of, because he don't have the defensive skills. So it worries me a little bit, but he has the attributes. He's really good on the ball. He likes to drop deep. He's a playmaker type of player. So it would be interesting signing a player like him. But he's not the total package. He doesn't have the defensive attributes. But I don't know if we can use a player like that in the deep 6, especially if you have Bruno in the 8. Then you have no defensive skills in the so-called pivot.
Rob Taff says,
if you have sold Bruno, I would definitely go for Yashari. Definitely.
Rob Taff says Yashari would be pivot. I totally agree, but I don't know. Look, Jarvis, the other thing is, as we both know, we don't think that Amorim likes a single 6, do we? He likes the 3 to play as a cohesive unit, as you pointed out many a time. It's all about
changing positions.
And I don't like understanding. The thing is, guys, you know me. I'm old. I'm 55. I'm old. I grew up in a simple 4-4-2 system.
You're not that old.
No, but I grew up in
you have a lot of good years left in you.
I hope so. Yeah. And, a 6 was really important. But, sometimes you could play with 2 6s in a 4-4-2. You didn't necessarily need that advanced 8 all the time because the wingers and the 2 forwards are converged in that area. So, but I love a single 6. I really do, for me.
Big up, Danny B. I know you low on Yashari. And well, according to the stats, I only see the stats. I haven't seen much of Club Brugge, just a couple of Champions League games. And he did really well. So, don't take anything I say about Yashari as truth, because I don't know. I think
the interesting thing, Jarvis, is we almost dismiss, don't we, the Belgian league? We almost dismiss it as weak. We don't believe that any player of quality can come through that system. But actually, leagues as
but look at the Belgium national team. They have produced so many great players through the years.
As global football is proving, guys, These gems do exist. We just aren't any good at finding these gems. You know, when was the last time we sought out a Chikorito? When was the last time we found that little nugget, that little gem, the Ole Gunnar Solskjaers of this world, you know, that we bought? You know, where are those players anymore that come in and make a difference? The Jason Parks, where are they? We don't seem to find them.
No.
But we'd never heard of Mamouche, most of us. And then all of a sudden, City, scout, find Mamouche. He's proven to be a very, very...
had heard of Mamouche. I had heard of him. A lot of... We talked a little bit about Mamouche, you know.
But a lot of people didn't necessarily know Mamouche. You know, if you looked at the average football fan, they wouldn't have known about Mamouche. You know, so we looked at, what's his name? Voldemire. I call him Voldemire. Played for the German under-21s yesterday. That proved to me that he couldn't cope on the big stage. He flunked his lines against the English. He's a bigger player than a lot of our players, and he couldn't cope. So, you know, that says a lot about bringing him to the Premier League. So there's a lot goes on when you choose a player and how you look at players and what you expect from players. And he's the one that I looked out for last night, Jarvis. When we were in the pub and we were watching, I said, "Oh, right, my mate Jarvis is talking about this guy." And they were saying,
he's brilliant on the ball, you know. He has some...
Rudy Vuller. And I goes, "Yeah, the Rudy Vuller lookalike, yeah." But when you're looking at his age group to age group, I thought we made him look ordinary last night. He's a good player, and you know, don't get me wrong, but we made him look ordinary. Livramento last night was streets ahead of most of them. I thought, but the Germany have got some great players. They've got that Reitz, their captain. I thought he was exceptional. His ability.
How did the game go? Did England win?
We beat them 3-2. Yeah, we're double European champions. Reitz, I think his name is. Brilliant crossover the football, Jarvis. Really good technique. Their skipper, and they got somebody played out on the left as well called Nebel. Looked a very, very industrious type player. So, but my point being, we did a little segment on, as I say, I'm going to call him Voldemar, Rudy Vuller, and he looked exceptionally ordinary last night. Yeah, Voldemar. But that's interesting football, though, Jarvis, isn't it? It's an interesting way that can he cope in the Premier League? Because did he really cope in the under-21s? And he didn't yesterday. Who knows?
I think he has a bright future. Bayern signed him or are about to sign him right now. And, you know, Bayern, they don't mess around. Bayern don't mess around. I don't think he'll play. Yeah. So we will know more about him next season when he plays in the Champions League for Bayern, and we will have a proper look and see how we do on the big stage.
Yes.
Mick, we will come to your question.
I haven't seen it.
I started in the comments, so it's there.
Valentino says, "I've been a fan of United as a child, and since I've become a Sky Sports journalist, and keeping my eyes open. I really hope they look at Archie Gray. Yeah, we mentioned Archie Gray on here before, haven't we? And Vermeer and best 6 players upcoming. Oh, best, yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, interesting.
Where does he play?
Arthur Vermeeren. I don't think we've certainly mentioned Archie Gray because he's at Leeds, wasn't he?
Archie Gray. We talked about him like a year ago, last summer.
A year ago. Yeah.
He's a Belgium. He plays for RB Leipzig. Arthur Vermeeren. I haven't looked at him. Yeah, okay.
No, I'll have to have a look at him.
Okay, big up.
Hackney. It doesn't look like. Is the club interested in Hackney? It doesn't. Yeah, I don't think
fan base is interested, but I don't know the club.
Yeah, Danny B's absolutely. Archie Gray won't come to United. It's a bit of a Valentino. It's a bit rivalry. It's a Leeds rivalry. So, have I seen your message? No, sorry, Johnny.
While you read that message, I just want to say big up to Roshmano giving me some updates when it comes to this. He sent some Fabrizio Romano is out on Mbeumo. He said that the contacts continue even today between Manchester United and Brentford. Constant contact between the two clubs to reach an agreement for Bryan Mbeumo. There's still no here we go, but Man United keep working on that, and Man United keep advancing, so it's getting closer. And
Johnny,
Man United keep your optimism to make the deal happen. So that's an update from Fabrizio Romano. So thank you, Romano, for that one.
lovely.
Yes,
Johnny K can join us.
Okay, send him the link. Send him the link.
Johnny K, the link.
We can do like another 20 minutes, I would say. We're not going to do it for 2 hours, but you can come on at the end of the show. I just have a couple of more subjects we're going to talk about. We want to talk about the goalkeeper and the Marco Carnesecchi link. I think that's interesting. I think we will hear more about it. He's the Italian goalkeeper. I think he's really good. And I want to talk a little bit about. I just want to go a little bit more into this Ederson thing.
San Pellegrino. You got to love it, haven't you? Other drinks are available, I might add. But San Pellegrino, if you're looking for two bright, young, talented hosts, and football speaking. One particularly suave looking, Jarvis, and one not so suave looking, and the best football community on YouTube. Sponsor us, San Pellegrino, please. You got to do it, Jarvis. You got to do it, Jarvis. We're going to, everybody, hashtag San Pellegrino and hashtag Tactical Devils.
Yes. And yesterday, I found myself a new type of tea. So I drove to Sweden yesterday from Norway. It took me about 2 hours just to do some shopping, and they had some blueberry tea. That's excellent. So right now I'm drinking blueberry tea.
We love blueberry tea. We love blueberry tea.
Oh yeah. Danny B comes in with a quick question. I would like Lunin or Lamens. Who do you prefer of those two guys, Lunin or Lamens?
I quite like what I've seen at Real Madrid's Lunin. I think he is an exceptional second goalkeeper. Something like when we had De Gea and he was the Argentina goalkeeper. You know what I mean, don't you? When we had De Gea and him, absolutely brilliant. I think Lunin has got a very, very bright future. Danny B, so I would go with Lunin. I know you like Lamens, don't you?
Yeah, Senna Lamens, I think he has really impressed me when it comes to his stats, and I only seen compilations, so
rinsed by Trevor. Two talented hosts, Jarvis and Jarvis. Thanks, Trev. Romero, that was it, guys. Romero. Hey, Johnny K is in the house. I will let you bring him in. The big
bring
man.
Bring him in.
Johnny K, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Big welcome. Yeah, we're good. How are you, buddy?
Good. Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. So I would have asked to join sooner, but we've had pretty bad thunderstorms the last 2 hours, so and the internet's been a bit on and off and everything.
What's been happening with the World Club Cup then? Because wasn't there a big hoo-ha about Chelsea having to stop their game?
Well, that happened. Yeah, I mean, I haven't paid much attention to it, but there was a 2-hour delay in the match. Like it finished about the 86th minute, and they had to go off it. And unfortunately, that's not the only game that's been affected by it. There's been a couple of other games, so doesn't bode well for next year's World Cup, though.
No, it doesn't, does it? No, it doesn't. But welcome, Johnny K. Welcome. We're just talking about Jarvis is going to pull up some stats on the Atalanta keeper.
No, well, yeah. Did we wrap up the Ederson thing? Yeah, we did. We
wrapped up Ederson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we wrapped up.
Let's talk about. Have you heard about Carnesecchi?
I've heard the rumor. Yes, I haven't watched much of Atlanta, to be honest. But I've heard he's quite a good goalkeeper. By the sounds, I don't know much about it, but I've heard of him. Yeah.
I think his name is pronounced Carnesecchi. Or maybe I'm wrong. I'm not fluent in Italian, but he looks interesting. You see, apparently he's the Italian national goalkeeper, and
I did watch that interview earlier with that Mick did with Alfredo. So it was quite informative. So that's good.
Yeah, Mick knows his stuff when it comes to the Italian links, obviously because of his connections to Alfredo Pedula, one of the best Italian journalists when it comes to transfers, and I think he has even more knowledge than the one himself, not Rashmano, but Fabrizio Romano, not Rashmano. Marco Carnesecchi, he's
The man Rashmano. The main man.
Carnesecchi, he's 6'3.5", so he's quite tall. He's from Rimini, is it a beach city in Italy? 24 years of age, almost 25.
Rimini is beautiful.
What's impressive with him is his save percentage and clean sheets. A lot of clean sheets. I think he had like 14 in 34 games last season. That's quite high number. When you look at his stats, goals against, he's in the 90 percentile, doing better than most goalkeepers. Clean sheet percentage, 93 percentile, 41.9. That's incredible stats. And
it's rubbish at pens.
Yeah. Goal kicks, average plus, average lengths, 72 percentile. That's quite good. Defensive actions outside penalty area and average distance of defensive action. And if you compare him to anyone, it's Kepa Arrizabal, and who else is here? Well,
Simon.
Yeah, Unai Simon. Yeah. Oh. But we are talking about. I think we're talking about 40
million euros.
We are willing to pay 40 million, and I think Atalanta wants from 45 to 50 million. So it's not an easy deal to be done, and it's not Premier League proven. So I don't know, guys. Where do you stand on this, Marco Carnesecchi?
I'd still have Emi Martínez. Although he's linked to Chelsea today, so he'll end up with Chelsea now, won't he?
Yeah, because they're obviously short on keepers, aren't they? No, I'm just looking at it. I think the club will look to get a younger goalkeeper in, so he's around 24.
Almost 25.
So the club will probably look at that. The fact that he's 6'3", 6'4", you'd prefer to have a goalkeeper who's tall, typically, because there's something about that with me when you think of goalkeepers like Barthez, they were quite small in the goal, so you prefer it if your goalkeeper was reasonably tall to be able to reach everything. So I would suggest he's got a good height, which is good. But I haven't really seen him live. So usually, even though stats can, point a picture, I think the eye test is still the most common trait, which judging also the fact that does he have the right personality to become United's first choice goalkeeper, or at the very least compete with Onana. That's hard to say at this moment, but I'm sure he's one for the future. Well, it's obviously displaced Donnarumma for Italy, though.
It is, and we have our friend that's linked with Sky Sports Italy. Stu went away, but he will come back. Comes in and say he's not going anywhere this season. Watch for him next season. Okay. So maybe Atalanta is not willing to sell him at the current moment. And Mick adds Milinkovic-Savic 20 million, and United are looking at him as well. We all seen them. Is Slovenian goalkeeper or Slovakian? I always mix those two. Sorry about that. But it looks like a massive goalkeeper. So his height is 2 meters and 4 centimeters. So it's almost your height, Johnny K.
Well, I'm at 180, unfortunately. So he's almost a foot taller than me. But because I'm just over 6 foot. But that's
he's Serbian.
Milinkovic Savic. So, he's a keeper I know a little bit more about. He's obviously a good goalkeeper, but whether he's right for us, who knows? I think he'd be decent backup, but whether he's good enough to be our first choice is, I'm not sure.
Nah, we will have to see to wait and see. But you know, the strongest link is still Emi Martinez. Looks like Man United are interested in a player like him. He's 33 years of age. He's on pretty high wages. For me, I think he's on the decline. I don't know where you stand when it comes to Emi Martinez. But on the plus side, he's Premier League proven. He's won the World Cup. He has a lot of experience. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think the thing with Martinez that I've noticed is he's one of those keepers. I think he's better for his international team rather than his club team. Like, because I think he's been a good keeper for Villa, and I would agree maybe he's been slight on the decline. I still think he's a good goalkeeper, but I've watched a fair bit of Villa this season, or just gone. And the other thing is, living in America, you get some of the South American World Cup qualifiers on TV. So I have watched Argentina a few times, and for me, he's one of those keepers. He tends to be better for his national team rather than his actual club team. But I did say that a couple of weeks back that I think the keeper might be something where you need a bit of a stopgap. If you remember, for United fans of the generation, you may remember Fergie, Jim Leighton. He was obviously a good goalkeeper in Scotland, came to United, unfortunately, just his confidence was sapped. And I can see something similar happen to Onana. But then we brought in an old, experienced keeper in Les Sealy, who was never going to be the long-term solution. But he did stabilise the situation, came in for the cup final. I mean, he was only our first choice goalkeeper for like a season. We won trophies. He stabilised it, and then we got Schmeichel after. So maybe Martinez might be that kind of stability, like a Les Sealy type, where he comes in, does a job for a year or two, and then you get your main goalkeeper first choice within a year. So I just don't have any confidence in Onana, unfortunately, and I think we need to look to replace him.
Yeah, I think we all agree when it comes to Onana. It's been a calamity, when it comes to numbers, errors leading to goal and all of that. I think it's a dreadful read to take in, how many mistakes he makes, and not just the mistakes, that statistically leads to goals, but the calamities, dives the wrong way and all of this, it doesn't count as a mistake, but it looks dreadful, and it doesn't breed any confidence into a back line. So,
and it's just certain things like you talk about diving the wrong way, but then I look at times when someone fires into the corner and he doesn't try and save it. He just stands his ground, and I just like, okay, you might still beat him, but the very least try and save it. Like, if you remember, one that stands out to me, the Coventry game, the semi-final, their second
last
goal,
season,
it looped off Wan-Bissaka, the second goal that was deflected, and it kind of like looped over him. And I'm not sure it's classed as an error, but I looked at it and I think his feet were stuck to the ground, and you need to have your feet moving. I personally think if a goalkeeper had been more, on his toes and everything, he might potentially save that shot. And I look at small things like that where I think, okay, he might not save it, but because his feet are stuck to the ground, perhaps that to me makes it look like an error, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. But my point is, surely Amorim doesn't see him as a good fit in this system. After last season, I don't think the centre backs trust him. I don't think that the wing backs trust him. I don't think the number 6 trust him. I don't think anyone trusts him when it comes to Man United. Well, he's the best we got. Inter had a dreadful season when he got the chance. Tom Heaton, a little bit over the hill. He's just there to be the influence in the dressing room. So we're out of options right now, and we need a goalkeeper coming in this season. And even though if it's just for second option, replacing Binder, he needs to compete with Onana to get that first team spot. In my mind.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it began to show like towards the end of the season when he was coming to collect the ball, and you had players like Lindelof and Maguire booting it out, out of play and everything. And it was the same with Binday. Like he just, I mean, we have our two worst goalkeepers. Like, I mean, it got to a point where even I was like, is it worth giving Sam Eaton a go? Because can he be any worse than the other two? I don't know, he's older and everything, but, you know, he does have Premier League experience, albeit
I see even Tom Heaton as as you mentioned, a less Sealy type of, player. He could stay on as the first choice for just one more season, and let's see how it goes. If he can't afford the 40 to 50 millions that is required to buy a new first team goalkeeper.
Yeah, but I think the issue is he hasn't played at all for about 3-4 years. But is there an argument to say arguably he might be the most dependable of the three goalkeepers we have, potentially? I'm not saying he's good enough long term, but he could be the second choice, maybe, just because we're not got any Europe. We haven't got any Europe, so, you might get by with one goalkeeper in a season, maybe have him as the backup to come in and do a job in 4 or 5 games. I don't think that would be the worst option, in my opinion. So
no. I just want to read out some comments. Boxing Straight Talk agrees with us. Tom Heaton is better than Onana, and that's a fact. Yeah, I think you're not too far off the mark. And Tom McBride comes in and say Heaton was poor against Hong Kong. It's not his fault. He's just too old, and he can't get down and dive as quick as he used to be able to. And there's maybe
I think
age is probably a factor when you.
It is, and I think also the fact that he's not played at all as well.
Yeah.
I think if he had a couple of games under his belt, then he might be. I mean, not saying he's as good as, but we have Van der Sar at 37, 38. But so it's not necessarily an age. Actually, goalkeepers can last until they're 40, but I don't think
you look at a lot of goalkeepers. We all remember Peter Shilton at the days. What's the name of the Italian goalkeeper who played on for Juventus? Buffon into his almost 40s. And as a goalkeeper, I think a lot of it is on experience. You just need to be in the right place. You don't need to do anything drastic. I think Stu is back. Before Stu comes in, and there's Stu. So big up.
Where did you go? We had a massive power cut.
Oh, wow.
A huge power cut. The whole neighbouring streets, across the river, all huge power cuts. So, apologies about that. What have I missed?
No, we were just having a good talk about goalkeepers and how we could have a stopgap like Leslie in the past.
Big Les, he was called Dennis the Menace. He looked like a cartoon character called Dennis the Menace.
Guys, I just want to say to Valentino Symes, you say, got to go. We'll leave you with this. Onana goes high chances of Costa getting signed. Watch Ederson's story, and Mbeumo will be done in the next 2 days. And Gyökeres legal case expected Sancho to Juventus from United. Thank you, Valentino, and hit me up on X Bowley77. And send me a DM, and maybe you can come on the show one day. Yes. That would be fantastic, Valentino. I love that you come in and watch the show. That's great. So just send me a DM on X Bowley77. So thank you for contributing. I just want to. Rosmano sent me this. It's quite interesting. It's not the strongest source. It's kind of semi-dodgy, but I want to read it out anyway. It's exclusive, and Alessandro Ganacho transfer race heats up as European giants circle Man United star. And apparently this European giant is Bayer Leverkusen, and we heard some rumors. We know he played under Ten Hag, one of Ten Hag's better players in his time, and they are chasing Ganacho as we speak. So how do you see this? Do you think the Bundesliga would be a decent choice for Ganacho?
That's anywhere, please. He can go anywhere. I don't really care. I just want him gone. I've just had enough of him and certain other players. So if Leverkusen will pay the money, we can get something close to what we want, and please just go, just disappear.
Okay, yeah, it's caught offside who is the source on this, and former Man United manager Erik ten Hag, now at Bayer Leverkusen, is keen on reuniting with Ganacho, who scored 11 goals and provided 10 assists last season. But it comes down to the price. I think we want a lot of money for Ganacho, as much as possible, and Ganacho's asking price when it comes to wages, I don't know. What should Ganacho expect realistically as a player, going to the Bundesliga? How many euros a week?
Well, he's on around 50 at the moment. I don't think much more. I mean, Sancho was on 60 at Dortmund, so at most maybe 80 a week, but maybe not even that. I don't think Bayer Leverkusen will have the biggest budget, will they? So
no, I wouldn't think so.
Maybe 50, 60, but not too dissimilar to what he's on now, I don't think.
His problem is always going to be now. His stock is going to be his attitude and his issues that come with that attitude, in my opinion. I think clubs will look at him and think he's an issue, he's a problem. And I think that's why he doesn't have the suitors he will think he wants. I think Sancho's in the same boat, to be honest, pal.
I think with him, he's got to. I don't see him going to Bayer Leverkusen because I don't think he'll want to move there. But I personally think somewhere like that would help to maybe reboot his career, just to prove that he has to recognise that almost no one wants him at moment, so he's got to go somewhere and prove himself. Might not be the move, but he's only 20 as well, so if he goes by Leverkusen for 2-3 years, who knows, he can get a big move if by the time he's 23. So I don't see, but the problem I have with him is I think his ego thinks he's better than he actually is, and I think it seemed like Leverkusen will be good for him. I think looking at Premier League, somewhere like Villa would be a good move for him. I think somewhere like Unai Emery would be a good manager.
Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that, John, because Johnny. Because meanwhile, the article says, meanwhile, Aston Villa under Unai Emery are offering Ganacho a project that guarantees first-team football and continued development in the Premier League. Yeah. So the same article says that Aston Villa is looking at him. So
I would imagine Emery will look at him for sure. And there's never any smoke without fire when you caught in other clubs, or you're wanting to get courted by other clubs, and that is to kind of align yourself to them. So was there more to the Ganacho Rashford shirt? Who knows? I don't know what goes on in footballers' minds anymore, to be honest. I really don't. I don't even know if they know what goes on in their minds as well. They're all just full of attitude rather than actual reality. And reality is that he is a very good footballer. We know that. And when he's on his game, as Mr. B quite rightly points out, 10 goals or 11 goals and 10 assists is nothing to be sniffed at. But ultimately, he can't be allowed to dictate what he wants. He works for Manchester United Football Club, and we are too weak as a club at the minute with these players, and we're not moving them on like we should have done. So I think we may well regret it. I think Mr. B could well be right. I think right now he's going to go. He's got to.
The other element with Garnacho is he was disappointed he didn't play in the Europa League final.
Yeah.
Well, Villa are in the Europa League next season, so why don't you go there?
Yeah.
Maybe take Villa along into competition. Who knows? Maybe you'll contribute to them winning the trophy, because I'm no question. I think Villa will probably be one of the favourites for the Europa League, won't they?
I think so. I mean, there is. You know, there are. If you look back at the history of football, there are certain players. I mean, look at Torres at Liverpool. You know, he was ripping up for Liverpool, went to Chelsea for 50 million, and it all fell apart for him.
Yeah.
You know, it does happen that players, for whatever reason, just can't seem to stick it in the Premier League. You know, Ganacho's got all the talent in the world. He just needs to harness that talent. But again, he's badly advised. These young kids are so badly advised at the moment. Instead of saying and getting these people to knuckle down, you know, like Rashford and his brother, what the fuck are you doing? Will you just knuckle down and get on with your job? You're ruining your career. Same with Ganacho and his brother. You're ruining your career. You're ruining your career. But again, I'm back on with Mr. B on this. 11 goals, 10 assists. That's a big chunk when Højlund isn't popping the ball in the net, you know. So you've got to
with a decent striker with all those cutbacks during the season, you could have had double that amount of assists.
But you've got to weigh it up there, guys. Attitude is attitude the problem. Now, Eric Cantona had an attitude, but fair enough. You know, the guy can back it up.
He has an attitude.
Johan Cruyff, attitude. Diego Maradona, Jarvis, attitude, drugs, attitude. Well, you know, other things. You know, Rijkaard, attitude. All these players, though, Jarvis, Johnny K, could back it up. They could back it up, back it up. George Best, attitude, backed it up. Constantly. Mo Salah, you want to strangle him, but he backs it up week in, week out. And so we must. Any player that walks through that door, and I think Cunha, you know, I wanted him for his attitude. You know, you guys know Cunha was my top pick to come to us. And Mbeumo, you know what? I liked him, but I wasn't quite sold on it. But the more I think about what Mbeumo will bring, that's ideal for us. Again, a top striker. So with Cunha and Mbeumo, actually, where does Ganacho play? Does he reinvent him?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I would say so. I think but again, whether he has the mentality to think, whether he recognise he has to reinvent himself, because for 45, 50 million, there should be clubs queuing up to sign him, and unfortunately, that's not happening, is it? So,
and Sancho should look at it as well.
Yeah.
Sancho should look at it as well, Johnny K.
Yeah.
There aren't a list of clubs as long as your arm wanting Sancho, are there?
No. No Premier League teams.
No. If Rodri came on the market tomorrow, right, he'd have a list as long as your arm. He could just pick his club, couldn't he, Rodri? If Mamouche came on the market, I think he could pick his club now, Jarvis. I think you're absolutely right about Mamouche, 100%.
Yep.
I'm not sure Haaland could. I think clubs would steer away from him.
You think so?
Really do. Nah. Yeah, I don't think he'd have his pick of clubs. No, I don't.
I think you're being too harsh. I think he can pick whatever he likes. He can go to Real Madrid, Barcelona, whatever. You know, he's the main best striker in the world.
I don't think he'll flourish at Madrid. Look at Mbappe. Vinicius Junior has totally suffered due to Mbappe and the way that they're playing Mbappe.
It could maybe go Barcelona to replace Lewandowski, though, right?
It's because Lewandowski's a similar type player.
He's still in the business, but he's not the youngest Lewandowski, so eventually they'll look to replace him.
My point being was that not all players fit all clubs. And Sancho, where does he fit? Well, where does he fit? And where does Ganacho fit? So I actually agree with you, Jarvis. I think
we don't play with wingers. That's the problem.
I think Villa would be a good starting point for him. I really do. But Mr. B's right. We could suffer.
Yeah. And you also say Ganacho was right for his response after the final. Why play Mount? Because we played Mount in the final. We owed Chelsea 4 million. Yeah.
Mason Mount scored more goals in Europa League for us than Garnacho last season.
Yep. You know, hindsight is always 2020. That's just the way it is. But you know, it's a decent point. Valentino Sims comes in and they just wanted to drop another breaking news. Ronaldo signs for Al Nassr. New contract terms include minority stake in Al Nassr. Yeah, I read that 15% that was one hell of a contract that they gave Ronaldo.
I think someone mentioned because that's Casemiro, maybe.
Yeah,
he says he wants to come out and stay. He reckons Brazilian media quoted as saying that he's the best chance for him to play in the World Cup is to take United. That's what he reckons.
Guys, we are heading to the end of the stream.
Yes,
we have done 1 hour 50 minutes almost. If you haven't smashed a like, now is the time. We need all the help we can get. I see Noradin is live, so I will redirect Noradin. And if you go on his channel, say Tactical Devils Raid, that would be fantastic. There's some. Yeah, okay, Paul Ince.
Incy.
That was funny. Well, it wasn't not funny, but I was at the gym and my mum messaged me that link about Paul Ince, and I didn't see the whole headline. I just saw the first few words, and it says Paul Ince, former Manchester United star. And when she sends something like that, I think it's serious news. I thought, oh my gosh, he hasn't passed away or anything.
Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? Paul Ince, formerly of West Ham United, Manchester United, Inter Milan, and Liverpool, former Manchester United player Paul Ince.
Shocking.
What is all that about? Former Manchester United player. What about England? Former England player. Former Liverpool player, former Inter player. It's always former Manchester United.
It says on former. So it says on Sky News, former Manchester United and Liverpool footballer. So,
okay. So he's got Liverpool, but Manchester United first. Well, he was United first, wasn't he?
Because that's what he's most famous for, isn't it?
He is. He was brilliant. He was brilliant for us.
Yeah. I think we need to. I just want to say big up to With the Bird. Big up, Vicky. Good to see you. You came in a little bit late. We're about to wrap up the show. 285 people watching as we speak. The numbers are dropping a little bit when it comes to YouTube, but I just want to say we are redirecting while we're ending over to Noradin because he's live on United Real Therapy. So go over there. And write in the live chat, Tactical Devils Raid. That would be fantastic because I want to repay Noradin a little bit for all the help he's giving us through the years of or the last year in this channel.
That's what the stuff now, isn't it? Liverpool close to signing Gay. Oh, dear me.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that Liverpool are building something really
it's interesting because Newcastle wanted him last year, but they're not in for him this year, are they?
No.
Yeah. You didn't get any notification, Vicky. Yeah, because I made the stream 1 minute before we went live, so that's why you didn't get any notification. The error is on my side. So.
Yeah, well, in fairness, I think the notification was actually for tomorrow because it said June 30th on the link. Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely tomorrow.
That's probably why.
Doesn't matter. Well, we're on tomorrow anyway. We're on tomorrow night, so
we are.
We're on tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's been a great show. I just want to give a shout out to I Am Titanium for gifting memberships to one new member. Thank you, I Am Titanium, and all the great comments. There was a question here from Mick. I just want to give this to Stu before we end the show. Question: United have trouble to offload players. Would Tipton Town take Shaw, Sancho, or free Sancho?
First of all, let me just say one thing. It's the mighty Tipton Town. It's not just Tipton Town, fellas. It's the mighty Tipton Town. Would we take Shaw, Sancho, or Freedom Sancho? No, and no. I think if Sancho stepped out in Tipton, he'd get lynched. I think he'd think he was in. Definitely not. And he couldn't cope with the sheer pace of our attack. We would absolutely destroy him in pre-season. He wouldn't be able to do it. So no, the mighty Tipton Towner for invalids only. Yours truly, being one of them. But we're looking forward to. We're looking for a strong season. We finished third last season, guys. We just missed out on promotion.
I'd be surprised if he got out your changing room alive, Stu.
We won't get in our changing room. He's got to get past the skipper first.
Yes.
Don't just get past the skip.
When you bend down to tie your shoelaces, you don't come up again.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, we do have issues with that. Our physiotherapist has to stand behind us and pull us back.
Yes,
when we're doing our bootlaces.
Middle name Stu Backhurst Wally.
Wasn't there a clip of Sancho trying to attempt to press up or something once? That he hardly put any effort into it.
Do we wear pointy hats at Tipton Town? I don't know. Well, we haven't used lynched actually for a while. An old-fashioned word, that is lynch, but he definitely wouldn't get into Tipton.
No. There's some questions about Mbeumo, the medical. There's been some rumors his medical is scheduled next week. What we know, the new financial year starts 1st of July, and he will most likely get signed anyway.
When's the away kit launched?
Was it the 3rd?
Yeah,
it's soon, isn't it?
Yeah, soon.
So it'll be announced July 2nd, which is Wednesday. So.
And Van Vicky coming in and say and thank you guys for your time.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Van Vicky, for watching on X and leaving your comments. It's great to see we have viewers on X too that's involved with the chat.
Yes.
Great, thank you, Van Vicky. Also comes in and say hello, Manchester United.
Yes,
just a brief thing. Is there going to be a big announcement because Stock Exchange July 3rd? It'll be off on Friday, July 4th. So
that is very true as well. Yes, July 4th of July in America, isn't it? Yeah.
That's Friday, so maybe you'll get something on July 3rd. Maybe
possibly.
Build the hype.
Build the hype. Let's hope.
Yeah. There's a question here. 21st century football. Do you think the whole Gyökeres situation, he could just funnel up Amorim and be like, just me out of here? What'd you say?
Just get me out of there if you can play the facings.
I mean, it's not come out, but I know he favours a move to Arsenal. But I honestly think that he'd probably be willing.
Well, the rumors said, Johnny, that he prefers Champions League, not Arsenal. And that's how the spin came that he prefers Arsenal.
I'm wondering if it gets a situation now with United. I don't think it'll happen, but I think it might be to the point that any club who agrees a transfer fee with Sporting 13 might just decide to go there. So if we were to agree, unlikely, but if we agreed a deal middle of July, then he might just think, I'm out of there. If I were United, I'd get maybe, what's his name? Mendes. I know
intermediate,
but if I were United, I'd be like, this situation, we need a super agent to try and deal with this. So if we're
I think, Johnny? I think, right, I really do. It is, he's panicking. He's literally panicking now. What the fuck do I do? Where am I going? And do you know what? I know. Nobody cares. Fuck him. Nobody cares. Fuck him.
Yeah. It's been badly handled. I don't see how this gets resolved. I personally think
we are the cool game.
Yeah, I personally don't think the earliest he'll go is either at the end of July or early August. If we were signing
too late then, Johnny, for us, mate.
It is. I agree, but will it be too late for the club though?
It's got to be too late for us. Too late. Amorim might look at it. Okay, Jarvis has got a point. Johnny, you've got a point. Amorim might look at it and say, well, it doesn't matter when he comes in because I know him.
Yeah.
He might think that, but this is the Premier League.
Yeah, I think you need some time to adapt. And when it comes to football, you need to know your teammates.
Yeah,
there's 3 new people up front, Mbeumo, Cunha, then Gyökeres into all of this.
So the whole front three.
It will take at least a month of preseason training before we get things right. I believe.
At least.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you to all of you guys watching. Vicky, Yalamalmin, 21st Century Football, Mr. B, Van Vicky coming in from X,
Yes.
Joe Buckley, Yala, I mentioned you, and Valentino Symes coming in with his Italian Sky Porch connection,
amazing.
Soccer Junkie, all of you, and the Rootinator, one of our loyal moderators, Rushmano, with all of his updates. Thank you, Rushmano. There were some updates also from Rushmano on this young kid, the young gem, JJ Gabriel. I don't know if you are. Do you have any comments on this 14 years old, apparently?
From what I've seen of him. Yeah, from what I've seen of him, he should be celebrated, but I'd rather celebrate him when he's 19, 20, and he's in the first team, ripping it up. So I tend to agree. I think there's definitely a player, but I think young Rooney should be the one to be spoken about. Kai Rooney. He's got a wand of a left foot, and he looks because something you're going to get with Kai Rooney is you're not going to be allowed to be substandard in any way because Rooney won't allow that. He will know firsthand what it takes to be a top line footballer, and he's got a lot of attributes. So I kind of think he'll be with him. Kai Rooney's the one to watch for me. Yeah,
Kai Rooney. Yeah, we know he will be fantastic.
Cristiano Ronaldo reckons his line will be better, but he doubts he's got the same hunger. No, I thought that was quite interesting as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice if younger Rooney Junior, whatever.
I don't know how old he is. He's only about 16, isn't he? 15, 16, something along those lines.
Well, it'd be good for him if he. I mean, I'm
Those
sure.
18s.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure he'll be part of the youth cup team. Well,
I'd like to see him in the 18s, Johnny. I'd like to see him pushed up to the 18s. They pushed that JJ up, didn't they, for a couple of games last season? I'd like to see them push Kai Rooney up to the 18s, see what he can do. We're going to lose a lot of players. Ethan Wheatley looks like he's not going to make the grade, doesn't he? So,
Mark Davis is coming in late, but big up, Mark. Just rewind and watch from the beginning. But thank you for leaving a comment in the non-live now in the live section. Long Daddy Mustafa comes in. Longer Daddy Mustafa comes in and say, how far is the deal of Bryan Mbeumo from Brentford to Man United? We are just talking a couple of days, 1st to 3rd of July, I would say. And as Johnny K also said, 3rd of July is the last day of the stock market, and then focus on the stock exchange.
Yeah.
Quick
one from Vicky. Out of 10, how do we think the transfer window is so far, Johnny?
Well, we're signed Cunha, so that things. We haven't sold anyone, so I mean.
I'm going to stay.
Regards to what we have to do, I'd say 2. When we get Mbeumo in, maybe knock it up to a 4, but it can change quickly if we get a couple of plays out and everything. But I don't think you can give it more than a 2, 3 maximum.
I'm in the middle, 5. Steady. And it's a great bit of business. It really is a great bit of business.
I'd give it maybe a 3 for Cunha, but. Yeah, we still need more though.
Oh God, yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm getting tired with a minute. I've just got the pencil. Cool, this is serious.
I'm not serious. When it comes to rating the transfer window, going on late of June, it's hard to rate the transfer window anyway. But as far as what we have achieved so far, I'm not happy. I expect
I don't think you can fairly assess what the transfer window is until the season starts or by the time you get to the end of July. I think that's when you can maybe give a fair rating. But
yeah, you're right, Johnny. But what I want to say, I want players in for pre-season.
Yeah,
think
I
we
agree.
Well, tell me. I
start
want to win the
7th of July or something like that, 8th of July. And if we don't have the right place in by then, it doesn't matter, because we need those players on board.
Yeah, I personally think we should, by the time we go on the tour, we should have at least 4 players in.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
I agree.
But
I agree.
we might be. I mean, we'll get Mbeumo in, but will we get another in before then?
no,
Probably not. No,
no.
unless you get a good deal for a goal.
Unless you're Chelsea, you can.
No. Yeah, Chelsea can do it, but anything can change. It's still early days, but I will rate it when the preseason starts. We need 4 players. That's bare minimum, and that's just how it is. So I would rate it I agree with Johnny K, a 3. Yeah, 70 likes. Thank you everybody for your contributions. Yes. That's been great. We are 2 hours 5 minutes into the show. It's time to end it, to call it a night. We will be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. UK. So get your notifications on and subscribe to the channel. We will be back. Thank you, Johnny K, for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, John.
And a great show beforehand as well. I was listening to most of it, so all good.
Thank you. And if you're around tomorrow night, feel free to jump on. Whenever. As I said, it's always an open invite for a guy like you. You fit into the tactical devils. What do you call it? Era.
He's in our. Yes, he's got the tactical devils flair. Yes, he's in our sphere. Wow, 1.14k subs. We are growing.
Amazing.
We're on the road to 2k. On the road to 2k now.
Yeah.
Flying.
Let's get on that rocket. Let's get on that rocket and get on the way to 2k. That'd be absolutely brilliant.
Let's say, when do you think you'll reach? Start of the season, maybe, or is that too soon?
Probably a bit too soon, but I think by Christmas we could have 2k, couldn't we?
Okay. Oh yeah, that's true.
Hopefully.
That'll be our first birthday. If we could have 2,000 subs before our first birthday, that would be absolutely amazing.
That would be massive.
That's around the 13th of December, wasn't it, Jarvis? Our first show.
But the thing is, it's more about quality than quantity for me, and we have 1,140 excellent subscribers and always tuning in. That's the best. Loyal followers.
And the Mancini comes out again. Good old Trev.
You never know, if we were to finish off the transfer window now, those subscriptions might shoot up.
You never know. Yeah.
I think also, because sometimes, because we were poor the last 6 months, maybe that can affect subscriptions. So hopefully we have a good start season. Hopefully they'll rocket. Hopefully.
Yes,
let's hope we get the optimism back in Man United. We could see early on in the past when a lot of people tuning in. We had 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people watching our shows. But as soon as things go sour, a lot of people stop watching. That's how it is.
We don't try and talk about stuff we don't know, though, do we?
Yeah.
We don't know. There are certain. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it. We just don't do that. We don't do that.
Simon Warner, big up, comes in and say, good evening. Our window started well, but now we are going backwards. And I think we all agree. If you want to watch it from the beginning, Simon, just rewind. We are wrapping up the show. I'm redirecting all of you over to United Real Therapy. So leave in the live comment to Nuruddin, Tactical Devils Rate. That would be fantastic. It's been a great stream. Thank you, everybody. And we will be back tomorrow night. Have a good one, and bye-bye and good night.